DW Africa Link.
Uganda is opening its door to more countries around the world. The government recently announced visa-free entry for 40 countries. It's a major shift in both travel and foreign policy. But why now? What's the catch? And why are some major Western nations notably left off the list? That's what's coming up. I am Eddie Micah Jr., and you are welcome to Africa Link, the podcast connecting you to the stories that matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
Uganda has waived visa requirements for 40 nations with a strong focus on the global south, more than half from Africa, including Ghana, Zambia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. It's a move that aligns with the African Union's vision of greater continental mobility. But the reach goes beyond Africa. By including countries like the UAE, Singapore, and Malaysia, Uganda is also diversifying its tourism and investment partners away from traditional Western markets. And speaking of the West, the US, UK, and EU are absent from the list. Interesting, isn't it? So let's bring in our experts to break it down. Dr. Sarah Bimbona is the lecturer at Makerere University and director of its Entrepreneurship and Outreach Center. Frank Yiga is DW's correspondent in Kampala, Uganda. Hello and welcome to Africa Link. Sarah, I'll start with you. Uganda rolls out this sweeping visa-free policy for 40 nations. How significant is this?
Thank you, Eddie, and thank you for having me. This is one of the most significant moments, I think, about mobility and closing the gap within the continent. And as you are aware or you know already that Ugandans will still need about a lot of visas to go within Africa. So opening up as a country, say, you know what, you are all welcome. We are not going to ask you to pay us. It is a very, very significant move, and it is going to really boost our economy. So we are following Rwanda and Seychelles to make sure that we have seen the benefits that these countries have gotten from being visa-free. And I think opening up to 40 countries as a country is a significant move. And we are also thinking that because of these benefits, the countries that have done it have gotten increasing the money from the tourism. When you look at inter-tourism in Africa, by 2030, they expect about 168 billion US dollars. So if we remove these barriers from where we are right now at 38 billions as a continent, we expect to grow, and this is a very, very, very big push for us as a country. So I think this is one of the major gap that we are, as a continent, as a country, we are trying to breach.
I hear you loud and clear. The benefits are clear. So why now? Why didn't Uganda do this much earlier?
I think as a country, they had not really we hadn't sorted ourselves out, especially understanding what the benefits that come in when you open up as a country. So having looked at our neighbors, we were almost at the same level in terms of tourism, but where are they now? There's a lot of money that is flowing in to Rwanda. And as the country, so we are making ourselves at home, we are setting the infrastructure, we are making ourselves ready to make sure that we are now ready to welcome whoever, and those who are willing to come and visit the country, we are almost ready. So the infrastructure has changed quite a bit. So we have increased the hospitality industry has grown a little bit. We are focusing on some major roads as a country. So yeah, I think now is the time for us because of what's happening around us. And of course, being a global village, now we no longer have to fear and worry. It's just removing the restrictions that let people move when and wherever they want to.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. You believe that Uganda was doing its homework and is now ready to receive 40 extra countries to come in without visas. Frank, I wonder what the reaction has been. What are you hearing?
Well, mixed reactions is what I'm hearing. There's a mix of excitement and a little mix of worries, but on the bigger percentage, there is big hope in Ugandans benefiting from this move by the government. I mean, 40 countries, visa-free, although most of the countries, not all that strong economies, but still there's little hope. For instance, Kenya brings in more tourists than any other country. Actually, according to statistics from the Ministry of Tourism, tourists who come to Uganda, those from Kenya are almost half of the chunk that comes to visit Uganda. So you can see that there is some hope coming in from that side where the tour operators and the government expect to earn much from this move. Although the big worry, though, just like Dr. Sarah has hinted out, removing the barriers. Now, these barriers are not removed on some of the big countries. They may ask themselves diplomatically, why are we not among the 40 countries?
So you're saying mixed reactions. So people are excited that, yeah, there's going to be more tourism, which will ensure that Uganda is making a bit more cash from tourism. So what really are the concerns from those that are worried about this?
Well, those that are worried about this, they believe that they don't expect so much from small spenders, because they say government has preferred quantity over quality, because they believe they're going to have visitors or tourists that won't spend so much, that won't have a big budget to, bring in the revenue to the government. Yet they would have got much more if other countries were included in on this very list of 40 countries. So that is the worry I'm having. I'm getting from the people I spoke to. But all in all, like I said, the bigger percentage of the people are all excited and are positive that it's going to yield fruits.
Right. I'm going to come back to you, Sarah, because the elephant in the room is that Uganda chose to include 40 nations, but specifically left out the US, UK, and EU. How do we read into this?
Thank you, Eddie. I think what the country has done is just a calculated diplomatic move. It's not just an oversight, say that, we are not including these big shots in our free access. So we know that at the beginning of this year, the US itself imposed 15,000 US refundable bond for Ugandans for B1 and B2. And these are the people who travel most. These are the people who have some level of, some money somewhere. This is almost an insult to the country that, we are your partners, we support you, we donate, we do all the things, but don't step in my country unless if you have this bond to make sure that you'll go back. And we all know in Africa, or even if we put it at the personal level, you cannot give me everything as my neighbor and you say my children can never step on your house unless you have this. That's not right. That is not fair. So Uganda just chose to respond by not closing the doors, because it's still partners with these countries. They still accept. But it's saying, okay, you know what? Let me also selectively open up for nations that will demonstrate to be, do the same way or at the same value, come in and respect or build a strategic value for this country. So we look at this as, yes, you are there. We know you are supporting us, but you telling us we cannot come to your country unless if we have this bond. Really, it's not right. When you look at the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the reciprocal openness and the strategic value is clear, and it's a signal of intent. Looking at, this is not what the Antwestern usual talk of what is happening around the country, the world. But Uganda still trades and receives all the aid from these countries. And they are saying, you know what? Yes, we are going to have some other people come in, but you have to to treat our citizens right as well. So not just keep excluding us. I'll tell you, Eddie, at the moment as an academician, we apply, and this has been an African thing in academia. When you have to present a paper, you validate it, you go for a conference, you can't present a paper in an international conference because they are not allowed to travel. If you don't have, the 15,000 bond, you can't go. Many academicians have been denied an access. And that's why we are now looking at Africa. Grow African journals, make sure, we support one another. We go in, if they don't want us in their country, we can also try to make sure that we build our own. And personally, as an academician, I've been affected at this level of where I'm not allowed to attend. And we have the verification issue in academia. You have all the star journals, all these things are all in those big countries. And if they don't give us that access, then what are we going to do? Grow our own, grow organically.
Those are very strong points that you've made. There are some who argue differently. They say Uganda may not have the luxury or cannot afford losing out on big money spenders like those from the EU, the UK, and the US. I mean, is it really worth it losing that cash just to prove a point?
Ed, we are not blocking them from coming. We have not done anything to restrict them from coming to the country. Nothing whatsoever that the country has done. What the country has done has been to open up strategically to the people now that are willing to trade with them. Because these countries that are not on the list of free access, we are still trading partners. We are trading partners with the US, we are with the UK. All these are still part of us. But what we are saying that let us also open up for the local. When you look at the countries that the 20 countries within Africa, for example, that have been included, these were not there before on our list. So Uganda has chosen to diversify to make sure that, if you cannot go here, maybe you can try somewhere, but they are 100% still welcome because nothing has been done on their visa. We know they come in and they are high value spenders, very high value spenders, but the volume is still very, very low compared to other countries. When you look at Uganda, we earn about 1.5 from the arrivals, and that is a very small percentage. I think tourism is now contributing about 7% of our GDP compared to what is happening to Kenya and to Tanzania. So making sure that we strategically open up, we increase the traffic within Africa because we know that there are many other Africans who cannot also travel to those countries, but they would also will have a willingness to travel within Africa. So let's give them an opportunity to come in. Maybe we may not have as high, but at least we will have the traffic will increase for our airport within African travel. Our airport will be a little bit busier than waiting for that one person who is going to spend, about the 80-20%. We still need them. We want them. We encourage them to come. But we are saying, let's also look at the 80% who can come in to supplement our day-to-day budget as a country.
This announcement was made recently, so we'll wait to see the benefits, economic benefits especially. Talking about that, let's hammer a bit more on the economic benefits of all of this. And I'm sure some ordinary Ugandans will be listening and wondering, well, all of these things, how really am I going to benefit? How is the education about all of this going down among people in terms of how all this will put more money in their pocket, Frank?
Well, putting money in their pockets, of course, there are so many avenues to do so. Now, for instance, just like Dr. Saras mentioned, Uganda tourism is one of the pillars, the cornerstone of our economy, because it fetches in lots of money for the country. Now, we have a lot. Now, for instance, Eddie, hope you're aware that we have gorilla trekking here. We also have big national parks. We also have safaris in Murchison Falls. All these beauties that we're endowed with, of course, stand to fetch us revenue once we have tourists coming.
People, obviously, as you say, will be quite excited. How directly is this going to benefit the ordinary Ugandan, if you can hammer a bit more on that?
So many places, so many times I go to places like the source of the Nile, and there are local Ugandans there, Ugandans who offer services. Now, those Ugandan services like guiding tourists and also offering them services here and there, selling their merchandise. Now, these Ugandans are earning directly. So once we have more of the tourists coming in, say from these other countries, the 40 plus visa countries that are on the list of visa free, well, Ugandans have hopes of earning much from this. We see them, rowing boats, boat cruises, and all sorts of services. Now, these Ugandans are the ones that earn directly. Even the travels themselves, the cabs, having tourists driven around the cities and tourist sites, the Ugandans are earning directly, and it goes directly to their pockets. So besides government bringing in revenue, where tourists paying, well, these Ugandans are also having some money, being pocketed.
Right. Thank you very much, Frank, for that. Sarah, Uganda is definitely betting on increased regional trade and people-to-people ties, as you said earlier, bringing in more African countries so it's not stressful for Africans to travel within their own continent. To measure the success of this new policy from Uganda's government, what are the indicators we should be watching out for to, basically to measure whether this policy is delivering the expected economic gains or not?
I'm going to look at just a few indicators that we should be looking out for. And these are low-hanging that we can really look at in the next maybe 18 months or so. Tourist arrivals. So Uganda Tourism Board normally publishes a quarterly data. So let's look at if this openness has really opened up for people to come in. So we look at the airline, the routes, whether they are changing. We look at what the travel agents, the packages they are building for the travelers. The travelers need to come in, looking at the destination maps and the products that these people are demanding for. That should be one of the quickest indicator. But we also look at because like I mentioned, currently our tourism is at 7% contribution to GDP. So when we see a move maybe from 7 to 10, that means it is working. And this may not be short term, but in about 3 to 4 years, we should be able to see a significant change in our contribution. And this mostly will come from, look at inclusion of India, UAE, Gulf states, all these, they want to spend and they are high spenders. So Uganda saying that, you know what, you guys come here, and mostly they travel business class. When they come, they want 5 stars plus. So we expect that there is going to be less, the barrier is no longer there for them to come in and be able to spend their time, but also to spend. We want to increase the foreign direct investment for this country. And once people know that, I can always go to Uganda, check and see how my business is doing, it becomes really, really easy than the last time I applied for maybe the US visa was around 350, I think yes. That's if those people are coming here and they're spending that much money every trip. It is a business, you have to do multiple trips a week. That is a lot of money. So removing that, I'm sure it is going to improve on the FDI that is coming in within the country.
From all that we've talked about, Uganda clearly looks set to gain a lot from this move. Are there any challenges for Uganda to be worried about, Sarah?
And we know that being visa-free and border secure are not mutually exclusive. So Uganda borders 6 other countries, and some of these countries have conflicts. So secondary border crossing sometimes are underfunded. That is the biggest challenges that we have. So as a country, being visa-free does not mean that we are border-free. So we should keep that. Every entry has to be documented, migration, everything has to be under control, but also the internal affairs has to be at the top of the game to make sure that the people who come What are they doing here? Where are they? Are they going back or they are staying? Because when you can indicate this on the document, but if the system is really not clear, is not doing its job, then we will have a problem. So I don't know, maybe before they made decision, they also looked at Rwanda, which I think, I don't know if we are benchmarking it exactly, but Rwanda is the proof concept that, when you have liberalized your visa system fully, doesn't mean that you don't invest in the immigration intelligence systems. They're doing that. So as a country, we have to do that. If we will have a big challenge if we are not investing in the implementation capacity of this announcement. So we have to trade carefully on that to make sure that all the systems are working. We are following up on all the people. And of course, the choice of these nations, you remember some of them are well off than us, others are not. So we are bound to attract, everybody who comes in. So proper documentation, integrity, security, all this diplomatic trust must be built to make sure that we reduce the risk for the Ugandans to absorb these other countries. Because people want to come, Uganda, we are happy people, we are very hospitable people in East Africa. People will come and they just want to stay. So Uganda must be very, very careful with these other systems that will support the visa-free entry.
Right. Thank you very much, Sarah, for that. Frank, I'll give you the final words to wrap this up. While you're giving me your response, I mean, this was done, a few weeks ago? So it's quite recent. Do you have a sense of if people are already taking advantage of this and coming in their numbers to Uganda?
Well, the news is still fresh. I believe it has not sunk so much and well in people's minds, but it's slowly moving on. They are getting it in bits. Of course, as a country, we expect a lot from this government move. We expect a government, both the government and the private sector, to intensify campaigns to ensure that at least everyone gets the message loud and clear that there are countries that are visa-free, and we expect the tour operators, so many other sectors that are in line with tourism, government should come in to make better roads. Security should be heightened, and of course, and also the border posts should also be tightened. Like Sarah said, that we're surrounded by countries that are in conflict. Others may want to stay here forever once they come in as tourists. But of course, once we put all this together, we expect to benefit so much from this government move. But of course, we're also hoping that those countries, the big spenders, don't take it personal, that we intentionally left them out as tit for tat. The government has said, no, it's not about paying back, but it's a strategic move to follow suit, to follow what other countries have done, and also in line with the AU programs, an initiative by the African Union, where they want all African countries to have free movements from one side to the other in terms of trade and also other sectors.
Ultimately, countries should learn from other countries on the continent, right? So this hopefully will create the opportunity for other countries to also open their borders to other African countries to, come in, do business, tourism. There is indeed money to be made, while of course, also noting the challenges that could arise from this, but baby steps, and hopefully the continent will just open its arms for all countries. That's really what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, great discussion from the both of you. Dr. Sarah Bimbona, lecturer at Makerere University and director of its Entrepreneurship and Outreach Center. Thank you very much. Also DW correspondent in Kampala, Uganda, Frank Yiga. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie, for having us. It's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to share our ideas. So yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Eddie, for hosting us. We look forward to another discussion.
Uganda's visa-free strategy may be about travel, but it also reflects something bigger, a continent redefining mobility, partnerships, and its place in the world. And Ugandans are loving it. Easier travel can boost tourism, strengthen trade, and deepen ties across Africa and the global south. But success will depend on more than policy alone. Infrastructure, security, connectivity, and ease of doing business will all shape whether this strategy delivers real gains. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by I Mugabe. And I am Eddie Micah Jr. Thanks for listening.
DW. Made for mind.